So now, I'm being interactive now. Because this report is so... And now, I will continue about the enumeration or the declaration of the martial law. Enumeration. The enumeration of the... I will continue the enumeration of... Tayo, natangal tapos lumilingon ka sa screen. I will continue the declaration of this man, and now, the first... Halata, no?
Kaya nga, okay
Wait,
na.
and now...
Para, ayan na naman niya. Sige.
Slow motion. Alam ko na.
Gusto mong gumawa ng bite.
Nakakatawa kasi mga gumagawa eh.
Dali na.
Sa gitna lang, iniisip ko paano introduction, hindi ka rin maisip. And now, I will continue. Right? I will continue. Don't laugh at me because I will kick your ass. Straight to your bone. Baka. Sorry. Wait lang, I will continue. Wait lang yung sa pottery. Ikakat ko yun pag nainis ako, hindi ko mag-get. I will continue the So now I will continue the enumeration of this the enumeration of I forgot. I know. You think I forgot? Yeah, I forgot. I really forgot it.
Forget.
Sorry. So now I really forget it.
So, I will lang.
Forget it.
Parang,
Forget
hindi
it.
kakalimutin ko na.
Forget it. Now, this time,
Maybe.
this time, you can see that, yeah. You see that, yeah. If you don't see, yeah, that's the asset, yeah.
Si Raul.
Oh, ganyan, siya nung style. Ayan, you like this? You like? Buy it.
Ano na?
Kagit lang iniisip ko nga kasi,
Ano na ini?
if I will continue this, then who will continue?
Si Raul.
Who would have to? If
Who
it's
will
not
be
me,
the next?
if it's not you, who would do? Right? If I will not make a move right now, you will not make a move right now too.
Inglesero eh, oh.
Dali, pinapakalma ko pa yung sarili ko eh. Kinakabahan ako. So now, if I continue... So now, if we can... Pagkatapos na ito, ikaw na. Hindi rin ako aalis. Hindi ako tatawa, promise. Kahit mag-cellphone ako. So now, if I will... Hindi ko talaga alam kung paano sisimulan eh. Nakakainis ka eh. Paano? And now, I will answer about this. About the ancient culture of Japan. Ancient culture of Japan is about because the ones that we search are only painting and pottery. So those two will be our discussion today, right? So what's your name again? Wait lang, hindi ko kasi alam paano ko tutuloy.
Tingin ka
Nag-record
sa
pa yan?
camera.
Nag-record yan?
Oo. Ng video.
You like this? Yeah, stupid up, bitch, did you? Oh, give me fuck. Wait lang.
Di ba yung kantang yun?
Now, what we will do? We will do with the dessert.
So, continuation na.
English? Ay, Tagalog. Continuation na.
Continuation.
Continuation? Ano yung continuation?
Continuation.
And now, this is, yeah. This is who I am. This is where we live. This is Mother Earth. Fight for it. Fight for it. Wala! Wala, binibidyo kapag naubos yung memory niya.
Okay lang. 45 minutes, di mo naman maubos yan eh. Pero ulo to. Puro to.
Tawa ka pa eh.
Ay, hindi na. Kasi parang kampet eh.
you want to see an isolation, then this is it. Sorry. Pero mga yung points na. Tama.
Hindi na lang ito papanoorin.
Wait lang, paano nga sisimula? Hindi mo naman kasi. So I will continue.
For the continuation of
For the
paano?
continuation of the what? What? Of the what? Say it. Of the what? Continuation of the what? What? Come on. Say it. Fresh talk. Ano nga? Continuation ng the previous discussion. So, she stopped at the parang ganun. Ano ba yan? Wait lang.
Of the famous paintings of Japan.
On the ancient people of Japan. Some example of this are
Where
so,
are...
yeah,
sige.
it's my wrong. Akin yan. Akin. Akin na.
If you see my friend doesn't know.
Ano ulit?
For the continuation of...
So for the continuation, I will continue because it's the continuation. Bakit ba? Tama lang na mali ba?
Tama. Parang
I will continue. If I wouldn't continue, this would stop this. In this moment, it will be in stop. Yeah. So I will continue now. Okay? Okay? Yeah, okay. Is there any argument? Okay. Oh, okay. I'll continue.
mukhang tanga, hindi na ako maingay eh.
So now, for the continuation of the examples of the famous artworks or the paintings made by the ancient people of Japan. Wala, ba't parang putol?
Parang puto na!
Hindi ko alam ba't may putol. Okay, ulit. So now, for the continuation...
Natatawa ko, anong
Uy, huwag ka na maingay. Hindi ko alam eh. So now, for the continuation of the examples of the famous painting made by the Japanese people, I will enumerate some of it. Some. This is some. Not all. This is only some. So, one of these famous paintings made by the ancient Japanese people is Evening Bell at Mi Temple. This Evening Bell at Mi Temple, which is made by Andrew Hiroshige, is another print which features the mountain skyline, so popular in Japanese and Chinese art, which bear many similarities, matching the link between their own respective histories. Hiroshige concentrated on greens and shades of gray and black within this work, which is normal for Oriental art of that era. As you can see here at the picture that, yeah, so it is cut na, no? Cut yun. Nakakat tayo dun, no? Next. The next one is the Sugin Grove and Massacre by Hiroshige again. Hiroshige, I think Hiroshige is one of the famous painter of this time. This Sugin Grove and Massacre by Hiroshige features an attractive landscape view of flowers on a tree in the forehead with a forehead. Foreground forehead. Ulit. Uy, basta tuloy-tuloy lang to ah. So now, the next is the Sugin Grove and Massacre by Hiroshige. This features an attractive landscape view of flowers on a tree in the foreground with a Japanese mountain and lake in the background. There is the normal use of Japanese calligraphy too, so make this a very popular work from Hiroshige, who became one of the best-known Japanese artists of his era. I told you, Hiroshige is one of the best painter of this time. And next is the Takigawa from the Tea House by Utamaro Kitagawa. This painting is a beautiful print featuring great use of color beyond the common Japanese and Chinese technique of just black with other subtle colors. The impact of Impressionism was shown the love of bright color within the Western world. And this explains why many Americans and Europeans would choose Takigawa from the tea house for their own homes ahead of some other Japanese print productions. The next one is The Young Woman Seated by Kitagawa again. This is a charming print that features traditional clothing within the style of similarly styled art. This painting look this painting look is very popular with those who are attracted to his historic look, which boasts class and represents Japanese culture very accurately. The next one is the Navarro Rapids by Andro Hiroshige again. This painting by Andro Hiroshige is another Japanese print which concentrates on the wild seas of Jap- Japan, the wild seas of Japan, to great artistic effect, as similarly shown in Great Wave of Kanagawa by Hokusai, which is discussed previously. The main difference in Navarro Rapids is that it features swirling movements as well making it a more complex painting as well as calling upon a greater number of colors. Because yeah. And now we will move on to the next ancient culture. We will now move on to the ancient culture of Japan, which is the pottery. Japanese pottery and porcelain is one of the country's oldest art forms. Uh, this pottery ulit. And now we will move on to the Japanese pottery and porcelain. Japanese pottery and porcelain is one of the country's oldest art form. It happens back in the Neolithic period. Kilns have produced earthwork pottery, stoneware, glazed pottery, glazed stoneware, porcelain, and blue and white ware. Japanese ceramic history records distinguish many potter names, and some were artist potters. Example of this are Honami Koetsu, Ogata Kenzan, and Aoki Mokobei. Japanese anagama kilns also have flourished through the ages, and their influence weighs with that of the potters. Another characteristically Japanese aspect of the art is the continuing Another characteristically Japanese aspect of the art is the continuing popularity of unglazed high-fired stoneware even after porcelain became popular. Because since the 4th century, Japanese pottery and porcelain was a mere imitation of the Chinese and Korean pottery. But as the 19th century began, when Japan started to industrialize its country, Japan incorporated Japanese features into the Chinese and Korean prototypes. In the 20th century, a ceramics industry grew up. In this ceramic industry are Noritake and Toto Ltd. So, one of the example of the Japanese pottery is the Jomon pottery. Jomon pottery is a type of ancient pottery which was made during the Jomon period in Japan. That's why it is named Jomon. The term Jomon means rope pattern in Japanese because it describes the patterns that are pressed into the clay. So, the Jomon pottery is the oldest pottery in Japan. The pottery vessels crafted in ancient Japan during the Jomon period are generally accepted. Pucha, inulit ko na naman. Kainis. This Jomon pottery, basta ikakanta lang. Are describing the patterns that are pressed into the clay. The Jomon pottery is one of the oldest, or this is the oldest pottery in Japan. It is dated bits of pottery discovered in a cave in the northwest coast of modern day Kyushu date back to as far as 12,700 BCE in radiometric dating test. It is believed by many that Jomon pottery was probably made even earlier than this date. So some experts argue with this date that this Jomon pottery was not made 12,700 BCE. So it may be made earlier than this date. However, due to ambiguity and multiple sources claiming different dates based on different dating techniques, it is difficult to say for sure how far back Jomon pottery was made. Some sources claim that this Jomon pottery started 14th millennium BCE before. So, as this Jomon, as I said earlier, this Jomon pottery was named Jomon because it is made in the Jomon period of Japan, in ancient Japan. And the Jomon period in ancient Japan lasted until roughly about 300 BCE. From there, it is divided into 6 periods. The first one is the incipient Jomon, which is from 10,500 to 8,000 BCE. And the next one, the earliest Jomon, from 8,000 to 5,000 BCE. The third one, early Jomon, from 5,000 to 2,500 BCE. And the fourth one, middle Jomon, from 2,500 to 1,500 BCE. And the fifth one, the late Jomon, from 1,500 to 1,000 BCE. And the last one, the final Jomon, from 1,000 to 300 BCE. There are all, as what the archaeologists said, there are over 80 sites in Japan where incipient Jomon pottery vessels have been found. But majority of this Jomon pottery were found majority of this Jomon pottery remains come from the later periods. And this Jomon pottery has rounded bottoms and the vessels are typically small. This shows that this pottery was made typically for the people to use it for cooking, like boiling of food. And this is made it is made small because this shows that the vessels would typically be used to boil food, perhaps fitting into a fire. Later, Jomon pottery pieces are more elaborate, especially during the Middle Jomon period, where the rims of pots became much more complex and decorated. And again, the name Jomon itself means the rope pattern. This refers to the impressions on the surface of the pottery which were created by pressing rope into the clay before it was heated to approximately 600 to 900 degrees Celsius. And this is the ending of our report about the Japanese Asian culture. So thank you for listening. Thank you. Alright. Uy, tapos na. Papanoorin ko na. Wala, 11 minutes. Ang tagal.
Tapos na.
Oo.
Wala, ang bilis naman.
Wala, pinost ko lang tayo. Stop ba?
Stop. Ang bilis naman.
Play nga natin. Cut mo na yun.
Ha? Hindi ko? Pagkakita ni Sir, ba't pareho kayo ng background?
Okay, magugrupo naman tayo sa